What's going on, baseball fans? How you doing? We're going to go over the best moves from this past offseason as spring training approaches. Can you feel it in the air? Baseball is almost back. Let's get to it. And what's going on, baseball fans? How you doing? Oh, man. My thing is peeling. Hold on. Oh, man. Okay. All right, is that better? All right, that's better. What the heck? Goodness gracious, we're off to a rough start. What's going on, everyone? How are we doing? Hello. How's that thing peeling off? Man, crazy. Alrighty, well, okay. Hello, how are you all doing tonight? Hope you all had a good weekend. Alrighty, who we got here in the chat tonight so far? We got 78 people starting off. That's what I like to see. A lot of familiar faces. Andrew Lee, Zachary Goldstein, Dave Collins, Bobby Ross Paints, what is going on? Brad Roblox, hello. Andrew Lee, hello. BZ Baseball, Jackson, what's going on? How you doing? I'm seeing BUR, Burr. I like it, nice and simple. Random Pizzeria, I love it. If you want to swing a pizza over here, I am more than welcome, my friend. Hello. We got Edmund19. What's going on? Welcome back. Wizardy Plays. Welcome back. Patrick Starr. Hello. Welcome back. Nahawand. What's going on, my friend? How are you doing? Jonathan Williams. Hello. Everyone. Hello. Hope you all had a great weekend. Hope you all. I hope all of you had today off. I'm not sure of what your school districts were doing. If you're still in school or if you got a job and you had today off. I had today off, and it was wonderful. I absolutely loved today. It was great. Haven't got to sleep in a little bit. Good day today. Good day. So, everyone, we got spring training fast approaching. Pretty exciting. Still doesn't feel completely normal. I'd say for me, last year was just such like a very odd time. Having the season pushed back to, eventually a 60-game season. Just having a very, very weird start to last year. And, this year, it still feels a little odd. I still think we're about a season away from really getting back to fully normal, fully getting everyone back in the stands and so on. But we did have a very eventful offseason leading up to the spring training. Pitchers and catchers reporting now in 2 days. So, is it 2 days? The 17th, yeah. So, we had a lot of fun moves this past offseason. A bit slow at times, but when the moves did happen, they were good. You had some big trades happening, some awesome free agent signings, all the rumors, all the interest in the world was this offseason. So, we called it the offseason of interest at one point. That's at least what I was calling it. So, we got a super chat coming in. Andrew Lee with a $1.99 super chat. What's going on? Talk about the Kellis signing. Very high upside signing for the Padres, man. They just, when you think they're done, they just keep going. I would imagine that's going to put an end to the Trevor Rosenthal talks. Very interesting to see where he's going to end up. I think whoever ends up with Trevor Rosenthal, man, that's going to be huge. Jolly Olive is here. What is going on, my friend? Everyone, say hello to Jolly Olive. What's going on? Yeah, man, we got to do something. Definitely soon. We got the previews coming up for each division. Hey, absolutely. We talked about it a little bit before. Absolutely would love to do the National League East with you, my friend. So eventually, everyone, I'm going to start getting into preview mode. I was kind of deciding whether or not I should preview each team, but I'm like, you know what? That's just going to be so many different streams. So I'm just going to do it by division. So expect me in the next few weeks to be talking about each division. So Jolly Olive, absolutely, you're the man when it comes to the National League East. Would love to discuss everything National League East with you, my friend. But yeah, so we got a few things actually happening this coming weekend. I'm going to be, I forget the name exactly. I think they're just called like Blue Jays Podcast. I'm not sure what the name exactly is, but I'm going to be joining them this Sunday to talk about a few things. And then tomorrow, actually, whoa, we got a super chat coming in. $9.99 super chat. Love your live streams. Hey, I love that you're here, my friend. That's all I care about. Hey, I'm glad I'm entertaining you, my friend. Glad you're enjoying the content. So, but yeah. Definitely, for tomorrow night, I'm going to be joining Ball Cap Sports at around, I think it's 10:30 tomorrow night. I'm probably going to do a stream maybe like around 7 or 8 o'clock tomorrow. So definitely be on the lookout for an earlier stream here. And then I'm going to be joining Ball Cap Sports over at, I think, 10:30. So if you guys want to head over there tomorrow night, we'll be talking whatever tomorrow. So everyone, alrighty, enough of me just rambling on and on and on. Let's get this music off. Actually, it's on. I got to turn it off. So, but for tonight, again, I'm going to go over the best move, at least what I think the best moves were this past off season. I kind of based it off of like, obviously what that certain player brings to the team, but also based off of whether or not, if it's going to be meeting team needs and so on. So, and that's kind of how I set up my rankings a little bit. But yeah, I got 10 guys on this list. They're actually, I might have cheated a little bit. I might have actually squeezed in a couple of other players into one spot. So I think you might have an idea of who I'm talking about. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get to the list. Coming in at number 10, I got the Phillies trading for Jose Alvarado. I think this is a awesome move for the Phillies. I actually think the Phillies had a great offseason. Not the flashiest of off seasons, but I love that they didn't bring in any huge big name relievers like a Liam Hendriks. I mean, I guess they could still go after a Trevor Rosenthal if they wanted to, but hey, Ball Caps here. What's going on? Hey, looking forward to that tomorrow night as well, my friend. But I love this move for Jose Alvarado. I thought about putting Archie Bradley on here, but the reason I went with Jose Alvarado is because he's younger, 3 years younger. He's got more team control, and the guy just throws gas, man. I mean, he just throws gas. He's been dealing with some injuries in the last year, but I think he could end up being a huge pickup for that Phillies bullpen. I love what the Phillies did with that bullpen this past offseason. They added a lot of guys to that bullpen. So let's actually go take a look real quick. Let's go pull up the depth chart real quick. Phillies. And then we'll also take a look at the stats. Let's actually do that real quick. Here we go. Jose Alvarado sharing the screen. Okay, so Jose Alvarado, he did pitch in the postseason this past year. But let's take a look. Let's go to the postseason stats real quick. He did return. Where did those postseason stats go? Yeah, so he returned in the ALCS. Didn't pitch in the World Series, but he pitched in a couple of games in the ALCS. Didn't give up a run. Had a few strikeouts. Did pretty good. He was dealing with some injuries. But overall, in 2020, not great. He had 9 games. He did finish 3, but the stats just weren't really there. The one saving grace for him were the strikeouts. 13 strikeouts per 9. Actually a career high. Obviously a much smaller sample size. But Jose Alvarado, man. Great. I mean, this is a guy where the guy just throws really hard. That's what I love about him. Throws from the left side. Really like him. In 2019, not the best year in 2019. The FIP did a lot better than the ERA. Good amount of strikeouts. The walks. That's the only problem with Alvarado. So this is more of a higher upside kind of a move to me. I think Archie Bradley is going to be more of like a solid move, but it was only like a 1-year deal. I like that they got Alvarado, who's younger. He's going to have more control. So he's got to figure out how to get these walks a little under control. 2018 was his best year overall. Had the 6 losses, but whatever. But he had the 2.39 ERA. He pitched in 70 games. 64 innings total. He had the 11 strikeouts per 9. The walks still a little high, 4 walks per 9. So he's got to do something about these walks, but I love the upside of this move. I think it could end up being a really good trade for the Phillies. And they need it too. If we go take a look at the bullpen, or let's actually take a look real quick. Where did they rank last year among bullpen? Let's see. Where were they? Were like right at the bottom. They ranked 28th in bullpen last year. So a negative 0.8 wins above replacement. That is no bueno. That is no good. That is garbage. But they did a lot this offseason. Not just a Jose Alvarado. They added an Archie Bradley. It looks like to me Archie Bradley is going to be the closer for right now. But Jose Alvarado, I don't know. I just love the upside of the move. They added a Coonrod. Who was the other? They added a couple other guys, I think, on minor league deals. I'm going blank on who they are right now. Hey, super chat from E. Gonzalez. Your top 5 teams in MLB right now. Oh, man, I'm being put on the spot right here. I got to go Dodgers number 1 right now. And I'm just saying this off the top of my brain right now. Dodgers number 1. I don't know. Do I want to go Yankees number 2? I'm going to go Yankees number 2. I'm just going to go Yankees. I'm not really thinking about it right now. I'm going to go Dodgers, Yankees. I'll go Padres. I'll go Mets. And I don't know who to do for number 5. I don't know. Let me think about number 5. Those are my top 4 for right now. That could be a bit of a toss-up for number 5, but top 4 right now. I could change my mind about that tomorrow morning. We'll have to wait and see. But getting back to this, thank you so much for the super chat again. Really appreciate that. But love this move. Love bringing in Jose Alvarado. Again, a lot of upside from him. A big arm from him. Throws upper 90s. I like the upside of the move. So, alrighty, here we go. Let me actually move myself over. I had to move myself over the other night, and I forgot to move myself back. Alrighty, here we go. So that was number 10, starting off the list. Coming in at number 9, I just mentioned the Yankees. I love this move for the Yankees. Again, it's another high upside move. I thought about putting Corey Kluber in this spot, but you know what? I love the upside of this move. I think Jameson Taillon could end up being really good for the Yankees. Coming off of a Tommy John, I think there's a lot of potential here for Jameson Taillon to be a really solid starter, mid-rotation guy for the Yankees. They really need it. The Yankees need starting pitching. I would have loved it if they would have gotten a more solidified number 2 in that rotation, but instead of going for like a solid number 2 like a Kyle Hendriks or even someone like Trevor Bauer in free agency, they went for high upside in Corey Kluber and a Jameson Taillon. They're counting on a bounce back season from a Corey Kluber, but with Jameson Taillon, there's a lot to like about him. So let's actually go take a look at him right now. The guy has been really solid. Really, really solid. Here we go. Sharing the screen. But besides the Tommy John surgery that basically knocked him out for most of 2019 and then all of 2020, this guy's had a really solid first few years of his career. Overall, 3.67 ERA in his career, a 3.55 FIP, a decent amount of strikeouts. And hey, he's only how old now? I think he's a little older, actually. He's 29, so he was a bit of a late bloomer. But he still has a lot of time in his career to try and get those strikeouts to bump up a little bit. He did have to make a bit of a change in his mechanics. He's resorted more to a short arm action instead of just that long looping arm motion that he had. That should take a lot of stress off of his arm. So I think that's going to be a good thing for him overall. But what I like about him, he doesn't walk a lot of guys. He doesn't give up a lot of home runs. You know, not a bad amount of hits. I really like the potential of this trade for them. And if we go take a look, actually, at the trade itself, the Yankees did have to overpay a little bit, according to baseball trade values. A little bit of an overpay, but I think it's going to be worth it. I like the upside of this move. So if it ends up panning out, this Yankees rotation there's a lot of upside in that Yankees rotation. If we go take a look right now. So, you got Garrett Cole. That's as, as good as a number 1 as you could get. But again, taking a look, this Yankees rotation, they have so many options. So many options. You got Garrett Cole. You got Corey Kluber. I think Corey Kluber is going to end up having a decent season, like a mid-3 to a 4 ERA. I could see something like that for a Corey Kluber. I'll just throw something out there, like a 3.89 ERA for a Corey Kluber. That sounds decent. But then you got a Jameson Taillon in the number 3. If he stays healthy, he kind of adjusts to the American League with the designated hitter. I think he definitely has a chance of being really good. But then you got these young guys like Davy Garcia, Clark Schmidt. Jordan Montgomery, I think, could end up being more of a swing man, kind of a bullpen guy. Didn't get a lot of a good amount of average of innings last year. So I don't think he even averaged more than I think he averaged about 4 innings per start last year. So I could definitely see Montgomery, being a back-end guy or a swing man. But then you got Davy Garcia. He made a bit of an impact last year. He brought some energy to that pitching staff. You got Domingo Germán coming back. Could Clark Schmidt start getting in some spots? And then you have Luis Severino as well. So if Taillon comes in, becomes a very solid pitcher in the middle of this rotation, they need anchors. That's the one thing the Yankees need. There's just a lot of like what ifs right now. But if he comes in and provides, if he proves that upside right, hey, this could end up being really good. I like this move. I love the potential for it. So, alrighty, moving on. So at number 10 we had Jose Alvarado, and at number 9 we had Jameson Taillon. So moving on to number 8, we're staying in the. I think this is the next one. Sometimes I get these wrong, but because I can't fully remember which ones I put where. But at number 8, we're staying in the American League East. I love this move. This team had a pretty active offseason. I think this is the right one. Let me just click it. Yeah, it is. Okay. So Blue Jays signing Kirby Yates. Again, this is more of a high upside move. I'm kind of going with the high upside ones here at the bottom of this list. I love this for the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays, they needed someone in that bullpen. You got Ken Giles, who is now a Mariner. He ended up getting hurt. But if Kirby Yates, if he can bounce back, this guy, man, he was the best reliever in baseball at one point. And now, if you put this guy at the back end of that bullpen, this bullpen could be pretty good because there's already a few good arms in this bullpen. And then you put Kirby Yates. I really like the potential of this. So let's just real quick go take a look at Kirby Yates. Let's go take a look at the depth chart as well. Let's see what we got to work with. I think it's funny because I think I've actually looked at the Blue Jays depth chart a couple of times, and I don't think Kirby Yates is there. And I've talked about this Blue Jays bullpen. Okay, they must have just updated this because Kirby Yates was not there the last time I looked at this. And I'm a visual person, so if I don't see it, I just completely forget it. So they got Kirby Yates here now. So before he wasn't here, and I was just completely forgetting about him. So, but good grief, this could end up being really good. If you could take a look right now, you got Kirby Yates now. Jordan Romano had a decent year. Dolis had a decent year. There's some, you got running a Tyler Chatwood, a David Phelps too. There's a lot of upside in this bullpen. I think this bullpen could end up being really good. But now let's go take a look at Kirby Yates. 2020 was a wash of a year. Not good. 6 games. He had the bone spurs in his elbow. He got the surgery done for it. So, but 2019, finished in the top 10 in Cy Young voting. This guy was insane in 2019. A 1.19 ERA. Had the 1.30 FIP. He had 15 strikeouts per 9. Are you kidding me? This guy was nasty. Over 60 innings, he had 15 strikeouts per 9. He had 41 saves that led Major League Baseball. This guy was as good as it got in 2019. And I actually, at one point, I put him as the best reliever in baseball, in my opinion. I put him ahead of like an Aroldis Chapman. I put him ahead of a Liam Hendriks because this guy was that good. And the funny thing about him is he doesn't rely on a lot of velocity. He relies on movement. He relies on location. The guy's got some of the nastiest stuff. So I think this could end up being huge for the Blue Jays. I love this move. Again, it's another high upside kind of a move. So, alrighty. where are we at? So that was number 8. Moving on to number 7. Number 7, I got the Braves signing Charlie Morton. This could end up, it's in a way a kind of another high upside move. Charlie Morton, to me, you're bringing this guy in for the playoffs. This is the guy that the Braves needed this postseason. If you had Charlie Morton on this team this past postseason, the Braves would have been in the World Series, and I think the Braves would have even had a chance to actually win the World Series. If they had a guy like this, they didn't. Why I like this move? First off, again, the playoff success. This guy's had success in the postseason. He's a Game 7 guy. This is a guy that in the postseason, he has brought it when it mattered most. But as well, it's addressing depth in the rotation that they really needed. Once Soroka went down, everything was just falling apart for the Braves. The fact that the Braves made it as far as they did, they were 1 win away from the World Series. Just think about that for a second. They had three chances to make it to the World Series. If they had one more pitcher, I think they would have done it. So, man, but I like the move. If he can stay healthy, that's the thing. That's the one thing you got to look out for. The health has been a little bit of a concern. So, not the healthiest this past year. Had to miss some starts. But, man, 2019, 2018, good grief, man. This guy was good over that 2-year span. Let's actually share the screen. Here we go. So, there we go. Okay, so from 2018 to 2019, between the Astros and the Rays, overall he averaged 32 starts a year for the 2 seasons, had a record of 31-9, 3.17 FIP, 11 strikeouts per 9. This guy was one of the best pitchers in baseball over those 2 years. 2019, he finished 3rd in Cy Young voting. This guy is awesome. So, again, he had the injuries this year. He had the inflammation in his shoulder. How old is he now? He's 37 years old, just turned 37. But, man, I like this move for the Braves. I actually really wanted to put it up higher, but there's just some other good moves where, man, you know, it felt weird putting it down this low. But I love this. I love this move. And it's also good for him, too, personally, because he wanted to kind of stay around Florida. And, well, he's pretty close there. So, but if you take a look at the rotation now, Mike Soroka, Max Fried, Charlie Morton, Ian Anderson, Drew Smyly, you got Kyle Wright. Now they got some depth. If Soroka can be healthy, if Fried can continue to take that step forward, I think this is going to be really good for them. But then Morton as well, it's just that veteran presence. He's going to be a mid-rotation guy. You got these young guys that are going to be able to take on more of, even if he's not feeling too great at times, you don't have to lean so heavily on Charlie Morton. You can lean more on these younger guys. You brought in a Drew Smyly as well. So a lot depends, you know, how's Soroka going to be? How's Fried going to be? Is Soroka going to be able to bounce back? Is Fried going to be able to, again, take that step forward? But if they can get to the postseason with this rotation, and if you ever Charlie Morton, you throw him in Game 3 and then you throw him in Game 7, I think this Braves team absolutely has a chance to even make it to the World Series this year. I know the Dodgers are looking fantastic on paper, but man, oh man, if this Braves team can come together, this team could look out for this team. I'm telling you. I love this move. I love this move. What is this? Fake Ant Ortiz. Is that the actual Ant Ortiz, or is that actually a fake? Isn't it one word? I think it's a fake. So, come on, that's not nice. Don't be the fake account. Alrighty. So, hey, I'm in the chat too. Hey, I'm gonna put myself in timeout. Sorry, Robbie. Got to put you in timeout, my friend. But everyone, that's what I have for number 7 on my list. Crazy that I'm putting that so low, because I did want to put that higher. I think it's a great move. But we're moving on to number 6. At number 6, we have the Blue Jays signing George Springer. I really thought Springer was going to go to the Mets at one point. Really, really thought this. I was like, dead certain he was going to be a Met. But what a move for the Blue Jays. Absolutely insane. This is nasty. I love this for the Blue Jays. That offense is going to be awesome with a great bat like that at the top. And then just also the veteran presence. Yes, I know the trash cans were involved, but he is a World Series champion after all. And he actually did pretty well this past year, considering all the other guys who were involved in the trash can scandal where, they actually took a step back. Springer actually continued to have a pretty decent year. Here we go. So moving on. He did really well. If you take a look at this past year's stats, 265, 14 homers, had the 32 RBIs, 359 on base. He had the 899 OPS. This guy was still really good. Overall, he's been great. If you go back the last 3 seasons total, let's add in 2017 as well. Since 2017, he has averaged an 879 OPS, a 364 on base, a 278 average. So again, the shortened season is kind of bringing these averages down a little bit. So let's go 2017 to 2019. In that 3-year span, he was averaging 32 homers, the 84 RBIs. I mean, this guy is still one of the best players in the game. And he's not even that old. He's 31. And he's still got a lot to offer. I think he's going to be huge for this Blue Jays team. Let's take a look right now at what we're looking at. So let's actually go here. Blue Jays. Here we go. All right, so if we're looking at a projected lineup right now, you got Springer right at the top. I mean, I love that Semien move too. That Marcus Semien move is awesome. And then you got, because look at this lineup. It's so deep. Bo Bichette, Teoscar Hernandez, Vlad Jr., Cavan Biggio, Gurriel Jr., Rowdy Tellez, Danny Jansen. It just goes on and on and on and on. And you got a guy like Springer who's going to be the spark plug at the top. This offense could be a top 5 offense in the game. And it's crazy looking at this lineup. I mean, as a Red Sox fan, I'm hating looking at this. The fact that, I don't know what the heck the Red Sox's pitching is going to do this year. Hopefully they can do something with this lineup, because this lineup is going to be tough. You can't tell me anyone is going to enjoy going up against this lineup. This is going to be tough to deal with. And the fact that you're having to start the game with a George Springer, but you can move him around too. You can move him, clean up. You can move him into the 3-hole. You can have him bat second if you really wanted to. You can move guys around in this lineup. Guys can move all over this lineup. I think this just adds so much depth to the offense. I love this move for the Blue Jays. The only reason why I didn't put it up so much higher, because the Blue Jays already had such a good lineup already. And so George Springer, you're basically just adding to your riches in a way. So the only reason it's at number 6 for me personally is because I thought there were some other moves that I felt addressed more for those teams. They addressed more of those needs. And for the Blue Jays, the offense wasn't really too much of a need, but they're adding to their strength. And I love that. I think easily one of the best moves this offseason. Man, who remembers that night of Springer Mania when you had what's-his-face up in Canada? He tweeted it out, and no one believed it. Everyone in here, there was a couple of people in here were saying, no, it's fake. It's not real. You can't trust that guy. Ended up being true, and then it was just crazy. So, alrighty. But let's get into the top 5 now. Here we go. So, recapping the bottom 5, we had, for me personally, Jose Alvarado going to the Phillies, Jameson Taillon going to the Yankees, Kirby Yates going to the Blue Jays. So the Blue Jays have made this list twice. The Braves getting Charlie Morton, and Springer going to the Blue Jays. So we get into the top 5. At number 5, here we go. Cardinals trading for Nolan Arenado. Easily a top 5 move for me this offseason. I mean, what a crazy trade this was. What a crazy trade this was. That night was insane. We got so many people into that stream that night. We had almost 500 people in that stream. I love this move for the Cardinals. I definitely could have put this up higher, because really one thing that I love about this move is it addresses a need. The Cardinals needed some offense. They needed a guy, but in the process, they were able to get a face of the franchise. So let's go take a look at this real quick. Let's pull up the lineup. All right, St. Louis. But you know what? Let's actually go to the trade itself. And I know a lot of you are going to disagree with this, and I keep seeing it over and over and over again. And it's fair. I think it's fair to think, but a lot of people thought the Rockies really, really lost this trade. And yeah, they did. They did. But I think the Rockies did well in their own part too. So let's actually take a look at this trade. Here we go. So again, the Cardinals did great. They got a bat. They did what they needed to do. That they needed to address the offense. It was not a good offense. If we go take a look at the leaderboards from last year, if you take a look at the offense, taking a look at the offensive runs above average, you got the Cardinals. They were at 21st. So you're adding one of the best bats in the game. I don't think the whole Coors Field thing, it's going to happen. I think he's going to be fine. He's a good baseball player. He's going to adjust. He's going to be fine. But the Cardinals needed offense. So if we go take a look here at the trade itself, and again, I think the Rockies did fine. I think the Rockies, they did well in the fact that, yes, they had to pay some money to get out of that contract, but that's just the business of the game. When you look at it beneath the surface, it was good for the Rockies to do. It was a bad contract from the start. Arenado's not getting any younger. He's had some injuries. You don't even know. I mean, yes, I don't think the Coors Field thing is going to happen, but there is still that slight possibility. What if he's not as good away from Coors Field? We'll have to wait and see. But I think the Rockies did fine here. As you can see, according to baseball trade values, the Rockies, technically, I don't think they won the trade, but they technically, at least on here, won the trade. So they got some guys out of it. Yes, they had to shell out the $50 million to get it done, but that's what you got to do. I wouldn't have even signed him to this long-term contract in the first place, or at least that much money, but that's just me. But for the Cardinals, this is huge. This is huge for the Cardinals. So let's actually take a look at what we're going to be seeing this year. This is going to be a pretty good lineup. Nolan Arenado it really adds that thump in the middle that they desperately needed. I love Tommy Edman at the top of the order. I love Tommy Edman as a player. He's a spark plug kind of a guy to me. But then you got Paul DeJong too. Really good defensively. He's got some pop in that bat. Paul Goldschmidt, Arenado in the middle. Dylan Carlson, an exciting young player. Yadier Molina coming back. He's going to be, again, that constant guy. Glad he's back with the Cardinals. Tyler O'Neill, Harrison Bader at the bottom of the order. I actually like this Cardinals team. I definitely think this Cardinals team has a chance to do something this year. I think a lot of people are thinking, okay, well, they'll probably win the division, but maybe we could see them being like a first round exit kind of a thing. I think the Cardinals have a chance to get to the championship series. I think they do. I kind of like it. I do think they need one more piece in this offense, one more. But I like the offense as it is right now. If you get Tommy Edman being like a really good leadoff hitter, Dylan Carlson ends up turning it on. He proves to be that top prospect that he is. Tyler O'Neill, Paul DeJong can provide some thump. I think there's some potential in this lineup. And then you got the starting rotation as well. I think you got Jack Flaherty at the top. I like it. You got a decent bench now. Matt Carpenter is going to be a bench guy. I like it. I like it a lot. Kisner, he's going to be the future catcher, but I like the bullpen. You got some hard throwers in this bullpen. You got Alex Reyes. You got Andrew Miller. Hopefully he can get himself right. Jordan Hicks is going to be coming back. You got 4 options right now at closer. Who's going to be the closer? It's going to be really interesting to see. Don't sleep on this Cardinals team. I really think this Cardinals team could make a run in this postseason. I think they have a pretty balanced team. So here we go. Moving to number 4. Here we go. Who did I have at number 4 again? I don't even remember who number 4 was. At number 4, we have, I cheated a little bit here. I did have to cheat. Please excuse my cheating, but I did combine Lance Lynn and Liam Hendriks in the number 4 spot. Because to be honest with you, I kind of wanted to go with I wanted to go with one or the other, but I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to cheat a little bit. So if I were to give a little bit of an edge to one of the moves, I would go with Lance Lynn because I think the White Sox needed more starting pitching depth. So I think Lynn was more important. But Hendriks as well, man. You're getting this guy for the bullpen. The White Sox actually had a pretty good bullpen last year. But with Colomé on the way out, you needed to have someone else come back in. You had some guys that maybe could have filled in at closer, but bringing in the best reliever, at least as of right now, in my opinion, you bring him in. This White Sox team is now, at least in my opinion, a World Series contender. I really think that. So if we go take a look, let's actually take a look real quick. Let's start off with Lance Lynn. So because that one did happen first. So let's take a look at the trade itself. So taking a look, here was the trade. It was a great trade in my opinion. I actually think it was very even. I think it was good for both sides. Sharing the screen. Here we go. So in my opinion, a very even trade. The Rangers got a young pitcher in Dane Dunning. I love Dane Dunning. I think he has the potential to be a really solid number 3 in a rotation. And you're bringing in Lance Lynn. It's a win now kind of a move. He's got some control on that contract. I think Lance Lynn, I think there's potential here with this White Sox rotation. The one thing with this White Sox rotation, I think it still lacks a little bit of depth. So let's actually go take a look real quick. Taking a look at the White Sox. If we're looking at the rotation. So if you take a look at it right now, I love Lucas Giolito. I am heavily considering picking Giolito to win a Cy Young this year. Look out for my predictions in the next few weeks. Man, I'm loving this time of the year. We get to the previews. We get to predictions. Give me a thumbs up in the chat. If you are ready for the live predictions show. I'm not sure when it's going to be, probably that Monday before the season starts, but give me a thumbs up if you're going to be ready for that live predictions show. That I think it could be electric. I think we could end up getting a lot of people in here. So I'm actually thinking, before I move on with this, let's actually real quick, when is that? So when does the season start again? It starts on the 28th or the 29th. When does the season start? No. Here we go. 21. Is it April 1st? I thought it was sooner than that. I could have sworn it was like a little sooner. Or am I just going crazy? Let's take a look real quick at those first few games. So yeah, is it April 1st then? Yeah, April 1st. All right, yeah. So April 1st. But yeah, so if it starts on April 1st, that's a Thursday. So yeah, it'll be... Oh, you know why I'm thinking of the 28th? Because that's... Oh, it really... Wait, hold on. Oh, wait, hold on. No. So I'm thinking... Oh, no, I meant to say the 29th. The 29th. So this is when the live prediction show is going to happen. Well, I don't know. I might do the 29th or the 31st. I think I might do the 31st, the night before. Or I don't know. Should I do the 29th so it gets a few days to kind of breathe so people can go watch it? I think I might do it the 29th. I think that's what we're going to do. 29th. The live prediction show. I'm going to pick who I think the winners of each division are going to be. I'm going to pick the playoffs. I'm going to pick my World Series champion. I'm even going to pick the awards. There's going to be other streams as well in the weeks prior, in the couple of weeks prior, where I'm going to talk about like potential breakout players, teams that I think could be surprises, teams that I think could be disappointments. I'm excited. I'm excited for this time. The off season, it's been slow, but it's had its good up points. But man, it's had its good high points. But man, I'm loving this time of the year when you get to preview and you get to look forward to the next season. But what I love the most is we're going to have a full season. So man, I think, in a way, I think we'll look back on it and I think we're going to appreciate how much we love this game, the 60 game season. And now we are fully ready to just get back to normal. I think when we, 20 years from now, we're going to look back at this and be like, you know what, 2020, that sucked, but man, it made me miss the game. So, but here we go. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, I'm talking about my best moves of the offseason. So I'm getting so distracted with this upcoming season. But for Lance Lynn, I think this is a really good move for the White Sox. Awesome move. I still worry a little bit about the depth in that rotation. Michael Kopech supposedly is looking pretty good this offseason, so they're expecting him to be an important member of that rotation this coming year. He's a bit of a question mark. He's had his off the field stuff. He's had the health in the past. So a big question mark for me. Hopefully, if Michael Kopech ends up coming back and being like, a fourth guy, I mean, goodness, this rotation would be good. But they do need some depth. Lance Lynn helps, but I think they could use another guy. I think the White Sox are Jolly Olive will do, my friend. Jolly Olive. Man, I love saying Jolly Olive. It just rolls off the tongue so nicely. But I could definitely see the White Sox maybe making another trade at the trade deadline, maybe trying to get a starter. I could definitely see something like that because I think they could use one more guy, like a solid guy, like to, eat some innings down the stretch. But yeah, love the Lance Lynn move. If we take a look, another good year from Lance Lynn. He's been great the last couple of years. So let's actually take a look at the ERA and the FIP. ERA, a 3.57 over the last 2 years, a 3.43 FIP, 10 strikeouts per 9. Lance Lynn's awesome. I think he's great. I mean, he's going to be a solid, 2 or 3. Him and Dallas Keuchel are basically the 2-3 in that rotation. So, love this move. But now, let's go take a look at Hendriks. Now, surprisingly enough, the White Sox, they actually had a really good bullpen last year. So, I mean, they had some good arms in that bullpen. So, let's take a look. I think they ranked 8th overall in wins above replacement on Fangraphs. Yep, so they ranked 8th. A 2.5 wins above replacement over the short season. I mean, a 3.76 ERA, FIP under 4. That's very good. 4.22 xFIP. That's around league average, I believe. So the White Sox actually had a good bullpen. And now, Colomé's out now, but then Hendriks is coming in. You should see an uptick in the strikeouts. I think the White Sox have a chance here to have a top 5 bullpen. I definitely think that. So if we take a look again, going over here, I mean, and now you're going to have, one guy I'm really intrigued about who I think has the potential to have a breakout year is Garrett Crochet. This guy came in this past year throwing gas, just absolutely dominating. And I think he has a good chance to be something in this bullpen. Hard throwing lefty, kind of reminds it like an Andrew Miller. I think he has the potential to be that kind of a guy where he can kind of come in different roles. He can close out some games here and there if Hendriks needs a day off. He can come in certain spots. He's kind of like that ace in the hole kind of a guy, like that. What's the word I'm looking for? Like that wild card kind of a guy in that bullpen where he can kind of come into any spot. Have to wait and see. He's still very young. He just got drafted, but the potential with a Garrett Crochet, I really like it. But Hendriks, throwing him in at the back end of the bullpen, he's going to be solid. I don't see Hendriks having a tough time at all. I think this is going to be really good for the White Sox. I think the White Sox have potential to get to the World Series this year, especially in that American League. It's wide open. So, alrighty. Here we go. Moving on to the top 3. Here we go. Who do I have at number 3? I remember who I have at number 3. I thought about putting him at number 1, but you know what? I'm okay with keeping him at number 3. However, what this does for this team is it's huge. It's huge. They technically didn't need him. They didn't really need him, but good grief, is this going to be huge for this team? Trevor Bauer going to the Dodgers. This is massive. I actually considered putting it a little lower on this list. And while I do think Trevor Bauer I want to see a full season out of him. I know 2020, it was a weird year. He won the Cy Young. He looked great over those 11, 12 starts that he had. Looked great against the Braves. But, man, the potential of this move for the Dodgers, I know you can't win a World Series on paper, but good grief. This rotation right now, I've looked at this rotation a lot lately, but we're going to look at it one more time. Here we go. So the lineup is already fantastic, but look at the rotation. You got Walker Buehler as your number 3. Walker Buehler is your number 3 right now, or Trevor Bauer. You take your pick. Take your pick. Kershaw is your number 1. As of right now, it says here Bauer's number 2, Buehler's number 3. You got Urias at number 4. You got Price as your 5th starter. I think Price is going to be the 4th guy. But, I mean, come on. This is stupid. This is stupid. Trevor Bauer, again, I want to see a full season out of him. These projections right here, I actually think they're pretty... I think that's actually pretty... That's kind of what I'm thinking with him. I don't think you're going to see this ridiculous ERA from him. So, that he had this past year. Here we go. Nate Beast, Dodgers are paying for the ring. That's basically... Man, we need some Pepto-Bismol in this chat. Can everyone start putting up some pinks? You know, whether if it's like a you know, anything pink emoji-wise. Pink circle, a pig. We need some Pepto-Bismol in here. We got everyone's vomiting all over the place. Man, oh man. No fan of Trevor Bauer in here. I mean, Phantom, I see what you're saying about Lance Lynn being more impactful. But, man, the Dodgers were already... They're just won a World Series. And this really... It's big. It's big, man. But you never know. You gotta wait to see how it pans out. But Bauer this past year, taking a look, 1.73 ERA. Guy was awesome. I mean, again, it was a weird season, but if you are looking at what is on paper, he had the 1.73 ERA, 2.88 FIP. Now, the one thing about this, the FIP is interesting to me because the FIP was a full run higher. Now, he didn't go up against a lot of good competition. So, if you did actually put him against some good teams consistently, like more often, that's actually interesting that his FIP was a full run higher than it based off of the teams he was playing. So he was going up against the Pirates. He was going up against like teams like the Royals and the Tigers and the Brewers and the Cubs. Now, I actually think you could see this FIP go even higher. So I think you're going to see his ERA probably somewhere, again, like a 3.5 to a 4. But also, you have to remember the fact, too, he is going to the National League. He was in the National League this past year with the Reds and that second half of 2019. But I don't count that second half of 2019 for him. Again, he definitely could have done better. But he was going into a new place. You know how analytical this guy is. He needs to, he needs like a full off season. He needs a full spring training to get that chemistry going with his catchers, especially with him. Cause like he is definitely more of a complicated case of based off of the things that he wants to do. So it's going to take time to build chemistry. I actually think he could end up getting off to a bit of a rough start with the Dodgers. I could definitely see him struggling like that first month with the Dodgers, and then he kind of settles in after a little bit. So kind of like how it was with the Reds, that when he first went to the Reds. So I definitely could see Bauer really getting some hate that first month. I definitely could see that. But I think Bauer definitely adds a lot of potential to this Dodgers team to, again, repeat as World Series champions. This was a huge move. You can hate it all you want, but this is a big move. So, alrighty. Here we go. Moving on to number 2. I think you guys have done the math. Now. You have definitely seen the moves that I've done so far, and we're still missing a couple that are pretty glaring. So I think you guys know what 2 and 1 are going to be, but who is going to be number 1? But before I get to number 1, let's go to number 2. I have Francisco Lindor and Carlos Carrasco going to the Mets. This was big. Huge trade for the Mets. Huge. So, David Knight is here. Here, hold on, David. There we go. All right, David. So, at number 2, the Mets getting Francisco Lindor and Carlos Carrasco. So, let's take a look at how much this impacts the Mets. So, The one thing with the Mets, first off, I think a pretty underrated thing is the fact, one second, let me share the screen. Alrighty, so the one thing I love for this, it's not just the bat from Francisco Lindor. You're getting a great glove as well. You're getting an all-around player. I would imagine this guy is going to get signed to an extension eventually. I would imagine if the Mets are bringing him in, they got to feel pretty confident in the fact that they can sign him long-term. So Francisco Lindor, a bit of a down year from Lindor a little bit, a 258 average. He had the 8 home runs, so he's on pace for around maybe 20, 25. On base was still okay, 335. The OPS was a little lower than what he's, averaged in his career. Weird season, but Lindor still one of the better players, one of the more dynamic players in the game. He's going to give you some speed. He's going to give you a little bit of power. He's going to give you just hitting overall. He's just a guy that you just love to have on your team. He's one of the better all-around players in the game. This was huge for the Mets. No question what it's going to do for the lineup and what it's also going to help you out with defensively. So let's take a look at the Mets real quick. What am I going? Oh, here we go. So they did have Andres Gimenez, who was very good with the glove. But this is, the fact that they are still bringing in a very good glove, but with the bat too, going to be huge, man. So taking a look at this lineup, this Mets team has a good lineup. They had a good lineup even before Lindor, but I think Lindor is really going to help. I could see Lindor maybe even being more of a 2-hitter, but you got Nimmo leading things off, great on-base guy. You got McNeil, Lindor, Conforto, Alonso, Dominic Smith, J.D. Davis, and the rumor mill has been churning. The rumor mill has been churning. Who knows if Chris Bryant ends up coming here or Eugenio Suarez, something like that. And then you got James McCann as your number 8 hitter. McCann, he's pretty decent as well with the bat. But Lindor, just stretching that lineup even further. That's the big thing with Lindor. However, in this trade, I actually just as much love Carlos Carrasco coming to the Mets. I think that was a big part of that trade. The fact that the Mets were able to bring in Carlos Carrasco, absolutely love the Carrasco addition. Think it's great. This is a guy, you got Stroman already. You already have DeGrom. Syndergaard's coming back eventually. I actually think the Lucchesi move could end up being a pretty underrated move this offseason. He's going to be a 5th guy, a swing man kind of a guy probably. But Carrasco, to me, pretty underrated. I had Carrasco in fantasy last year. Hey, that guy helped me win a fantasy baseball championship. I'm just going to say that. But I love the addition of Carrasco. Awesome. This is a great trade for the Mets. Fantastic. But the Indians did well in this trade too. If we actually go back to this trade, taking a look here, this was actually a very even trade. A very even trade. And I know a lot of people are saying the Indians, they were like a loser this offseason. I disagree. They got a good, solid package of players. You got a young shortstop in Gimenez, a lot of potential. You got a few good prospects as well. Wolf is a pretty good pitching prospect. You got Rosario as well, who can, play in the infield, and then Green as well. This ended up being a pretty good trade for the Indians too. And the fact that they were able to get this, they had to do something with Lindor. This is very similar to the Mookie Betts thing. Very similar. So got that young major league ready player who has a lot of control. Got a couple of prospects attached to it. Very similar to the Mookie Betts trade. So only thing, honestly, very similar. Because if you think about it, Lindor is like the Mookie and Carrasco is like the David Price. So, not as talented as a Mookie Betts, but this was a very similar trade to the Mookie Betts trade. So, love this move. What else is there to say? I loved it. Now, getting to number 1, I think you guys already know. But which move? Which move is it? I think you guys already know, what team it probably is. And I'm going to be honest with you, I cheated a little bit on this. I cheated because you know what? I couldn't pick just one. And it's my list. I'm going to be like Giraffe Neck Mark with his own predictions where he's like, they're my predictions. I'll do whatever I want with my predictions. And it's my list. I'll do whatever I want with my list. At number 1, here we go. Padres trade for Snell, Darvish, and Musgrove. This was huge. This was insane. Absolutely insane. You got Snell and Darvish back-to-back days. This is insane. And then you got Musgrove. I didn't even see the Musgrove one happening. This was nuts. Like, I mean, good grief. The Padres, they not only had one of the best trade deadlines this past year, but they had one of the best off seasons of all time. Insane. So let's actually go take a look at the Padres. Now, let's actually go back to these trades real quick. Actually, you know what? I might not be able to pull up the Darvish one. I don't think I'm able to pull up the Darvish one. But let's share the screen. Let's go back to the Blake Snell trade. Let's take a look at Blake Snell first. So this was the one that did happen first. I think this is a great package for the Rays. If you take a look here, the Rays actually, they technically, according to baseball trade values, they won the trade. They won this trade. The Padres had to give back a pretty decent package here. Patino, I think, he reminds me a lot of a Pedro Martinez. I really think that he's 20 years old. 20 years old, has an awesome changeup already, tons of velocity. Patino, to me, really reminds me. Yeah, BZ Baseball. I couldn't find a Padres Musgrove one. So found a Darvish and a Snell one though. But yeah, just don't pay attention to that. Just pay attention to the yellow. I think it blended in. Shh, don't tell anyone. But here we go. Patino, he was the headline of the package. They got Wilcox. This guy just got drafted this past year. I mean, tons of velocity from him. The only problem with him were the walks in college. But man, ton of velocity. It's like a perfect fit for the Rays. And then they got a couple of catchers as well. Really improves the catching depth. Robbie exposed. What am I doing? What did I do? Jackson, what did I do? But here we go. So, I see what you're saying for the the Musgrove one. But for Snell, I mean, again, the Rays got a good package. But for Snell, the Padres, this is big. Snell should have been kept in the game. I think we all know that. I think that absolutely should have happened in the World Series in Game 6. He was cruising right along in that game. Got yanked way too early. They focused too much on the analytics. And hey, the rest was history at that point. But Snell going to the Padres is going to be huge. So let's take a look at Snell. Let's take a look here. Blake Snell had himself a really good year. Former Cy Young winner. Let's actually go back to the last 3 seasons, which included his Cy Young season. Look at the ERA, 2.85. Had the 3.27 FIP, 11.5 strikeouts per 9. Snell, one of the best pitchers in the game, especially from the left side. So if we actually take a look at one thing I do want to see from Snell, and this actually could be more of a downfall from the Rays, but I want him to throw more innings. I want him to throw more pitches in a game. He does, but he would at times get these high pitch counts. So there's times where he wouldn't go as deep into games, and sometimes he just got pulled, not even including the World Series. There were some, games in the past where he gets yanked a little too early. But that's one thing I do want to see from Snell, go a little deeper into games. But from 2018 to 2019, I mean, this guy was so good. 2.78 ERA. Again, the 11.5 strikeouts per 9. Really good. And then actually, let's average in the 2020 season as well. Around the same. So yeah, I mean, again, very good year. Pitched well in the playoffs too. If we take a look at 2020, he had, really solid against the Yankees. Didn't fare great against the Yankees, but he definitely held his own in the World Series. Had 2 starts. Did really good. Yeah. I mean, what else is there to say? Blake Snell. Now, let's take a look at Darvish. I can't pull up the trade. I definitely think the Cubs, they lost that trade. They got a lot of upside in that package, but I can't pull it up. But if I were to pull up that trade, you would see that the Cubs, they lost that trade. They lost that trade by like a good 12 points. It wasn't even close. So, the Padres got a steal. I mean, yeah, they had to take on some salary. They did have to take on some salary. Yeah, as you can see here, he's right now in the middle of a 6-year, $126 million contract. But Darvish, what a year for him. There was a time where it was looking like he was going to get that Cy Young. But if you take a look, this is another thing too. He was in the, pitching in the same division as as Bauer, and you can see he had good numbers too. So I think that NL Central kind of helped. I am curious to see how, because Darvish has had his struggles in the past. He had a really good year this past year, but I'm going to kind of, I love the move. I'm not saying I don't like the move, but if you take a look from 2017 to 2019, he had his struggles a little bit. 4.02 ERA. He had a 4.08 FIP. 2020 was a weird year. Those teams that they were playing were not very strong. But I think this is great for either way. I don't think you're going to see this kind of a year from Darvish again. I mean, this was a wacky year, man. He was so good. I mean, the FIP was so low at a 2.23. I mean, but again, he kind of like Bauer. He was facing those the AL Central and the NL Central, a lot of weak offensive teams. But the one thing with Darvish, he does get the strikeouts. That's already big. That's big. He doesn't walk a lot of guys. He'll give up, not really too many home runs. But Darvish is a guy where I think I'm curious to see how he's going to do, against like a good Dodgers team consistently, against, a team like the Diamondbacks, who they have some fun pieces in that lineup. You got a Ketel Marte there. The Giants have a decent lineup as well. I am curious to see how Darvish does. I think you could expect to see Darvish have an ERA kind of where around what he was, or an FIP, kind of like around like the high 3s to low 4s. I think that's what you're going to see from Darvish. So, but either way, though, that's big for the Padres because the Padres needed starting pitching. So Mike Clevinger is not going to be there this year. So I thought it was big. If you take a look at the rotation as of right now, Darvish is the number one. So you got Darvish, Snell, and then we'll take a look at Musgrove. Let's actually take a look at Musgrove real quick. Musgrove, it's a little interesting with him. A little interesting because he's had, some injuries pop up in the past. Had some stuff going on with the triceps this past year. But overall, he's been really good. A 3.86 ERA, 3.42 FIP this past year. Look at the strikeouts per 9. The walks jumped a little, but, that's going to happen when you're starting, trying to get more strikeouts. That's kind of what you have to do in today's game. You got to start getting the strikeouts a little more. That's just kind of the way this game has gone. So, but I think Musgrove is really solid. The fact that he's going to be, like a 4 in this rotation is nuts. The fact that Paddock is a 5. Paddock didn't have a great year this past year, but I think this was huge getting these 3 guys, Darvish, Snell, and Musgrove. I thought it was very big. I am going to proceed with caution a little bit because I wonder because I think a lot of people are thinking, wow, Darvish did really good this past year. But I think a lot of people forget that he was in the same division as Bauer. So a lot of people give Bauer, myself included, people will say that thing about Bauer where, he didn't really face a lot of great competition. Well, same thing with Darvish. He was in the same division. So, and then Darvish went up against the Reds. The Reds didn't have a very good offense this year. So Darvish and Bauer are very similar, but I think you're going to see Darvish, high 3s ERA, like a low 4s. I think that sounds about right. But you're going to get a lot of strikeouts with him. Either way, he is still one of the better pitchers in the game. I thought this was huge for the Padres to do. Blake Snell, he's a gamer. He's going to bring it. You got Lamet still there. I'm a little curious with Lamet. He had the injury down the stretch. He had the biceps injury. I wonder about him just a smidge. But and then Musgrove, the 4. There is a lot of definitely this rotation is going to be good. I think Lamet, I'm interested to see, is he going to be able to stay on the field? How's Darvish going to be in a much tougher division? I think Snell is actually going to be very good. I like Snell a lot. I definitely want to see, I think the Padres have a very good team this year, but I'm wondering, are they going to be good enough? That's what I'm wondering. If they're just not quite there. I mean, the offense is great. I mean, there's a lot to like in this offense. I mean, you got the bullpen. You just added a Kella. You added a Melanson. There's so much to like about this team. But I wonder, are they going to have enough? Are they going to have enough? That's what I'm wondering. So I am going to proceed with caution with this Padres team. However, I am still going these three guys, which I packaged together in a nice little bundle. I still think this is the best moves of the offseason, because what it does is it gives the Padres a chance. It gives them a chance this year. You never know what can happen once you get to the playoffs. If they can make it, if they end up winning the wild card and the Dodgers win the division, if they can make it past the wild card and they get to that first round and they end up getting the Dodgers first round, let's say that happens, they have a chance. So this is what this move does, is it gives the Padres hope for this year. Because if they didn't make these moves, they weren't doing anything. They weren't going to do anything. So I think this really addresses the fact as well. You're not going to have Clevinger. I am looking more towards 2022 for this team as like I think they have a chance. I do think they have a chance to win it all this year. I think that, we got a super chat coming in. We got a super chat. Where is it? William Fulgham. $4.99 super chat. Padres win division. Bauer has a mid-4 ERA. It's possible. Could he end up struggling going to the West? Have to wait and see. I'm going to personally say maybe like a high 3, low 4 ERA, but I can't tell the future. What do I know? That could definitely happen. Who knows? He could end up just completely struggling. We'll have to wait and see. But what I like about this for the Padres is it gives them a chance. That's what I love about it. So let's recap the top 10. All righty, here we go. At number 10, I had Jose Alvarado going to the Phillies. At number 9, I had the Yankees getting Jameson Taillon. At number 8, I got the Blue Jays getting Kirby Yates. At number 7, I have the Braves signing Charlie Morton. At number 6, I have the Blue Jays signing George Springer. At number 5, I have the Cardinals trading for Nolan Arenado. At number 4, I have the White Sox trading for Lynn and signing Hendriks. I combined them. It's my list. Leave me alone. At number 3, I have the Dodgers getting Trevor Bauer. At number 2, I have the Mets getting Francisco Lindor and Carlos Carrasco. And at number 1, I have the Padres getting these three guys. Yes, I bundled them together. It's my list. Leave me alone. But alrighty, everyone. I'm going to get out of here. I got to work tomorrow morning. I got to wake up early. My 3-day weekend is coming to an end, unfortunately. I got to get some shut-eye. But everyone, I want to thank you for coming out tonight. Before I get out of here, if you are new here and you have yet to hit that subscribe button, think about it. We're talking baseball here all the time. So if you are looking for more news and content in the baseball world, consider hitting that subscribe button. Hit that like button for me. This is going to get the stream out to more baseball fans if they weren't able to get here tonight. And go follow me on Twitter as well. I'm talking baseball there throughout the day. Everyone, I want to thank you so much for coming out tonight. Again, I will be probably streaming tomorrow a little earlier because I'm going to be going to Ball Cap Sports YouTube channel tomorrow night at 10:30. So yeah, this time tomorrow night, I'll be talking with Ball Cap Sports. We'll be talking about some stuff. So yeah, I'll be doing double the action tomorrow. So be on the lookout, everyone. Everyone have a great night. And yeah, as always, I'll talk to you next time.